Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we've got another Mustang Mach-E video, and we also have another Jowua accessories video. So this is the Jowua car sunshade. On the box it says for Tesla, but Jowua is getting into making accessories for other EVs, specifically the Mustang Mach-E. So they sent this to me for free to check out and review for you guys. On the back of the box here, you'll see this actually is the glass roof sunshade for Mach-E. Jowua also sent me a couple accessories before for the Mach-E, both the front and rear trunk liners and an air compressor. Those products all work great. There's another video on the channel if you're interested in those products. If you're familiar with the Mach-E, it has most models come with a glass roof. There's a few like the base GT on a couple of the older models, and the Route 1 didn't have the glass roof. The new specs are a little bit different, but a lot of the Mach-E's have a glass roof. It's great, it's nice to see out of, but there's no way to close that off. There's no built-in sunshade or anything like that. It is heavily tinted, but on the really hot summer days, if you're road tripping and it's really hot outside, the sun's beating down, or it's just gonna sit in the parking lot all day, it'd be nice if there was a way to maybe close that off a little bit. Ford does make a sunshade as well for the glass roof. It's about 89 bucks on Ford's website, so feel free to check that out. I do not have one of those, so I can't compare it directly to this. And Jowua's version here, this is $104.95 on Jowua's site. So yeah, without further ado, let's unbox it and check it out. So it comes in this nice carrying pouch, and it's got a zipper here on the back. So you can see this folds up, pretty nicely and compact, so you can definitely fit it in the back of the car, when you're not using it. So if we open this up, there are going to be some little clips that'll go in around the top. And then here's the sunscreen itself. So try not to hit myself in the face as I open this. So there are two pieces to this, I guess. Okay, so there's actually two sections to this, so that's kind of cool. So that might be the front. Here's the other section. Nice reflective material. I can kind of barely see through that. I can just make out the ceiling lights on it, but I can't see much else through it. So obviously we'll see what happens, looking through the roof when the sun's out. And kind of excited to try that with it being in two sections. Maybe there's cases where you just leave the rear end or just leave the front end. Sealed plastic case here that has the clips in it. It looks like there's 12 clips in here. Yeah, and these clips are plastic, but they feel like they're pretty sturdy, but not too sturdy that you're not gonna damage a roof liner or something. Let's install this and check it out. All right, so I got a couple of the clips installed. So let me install a couple more on this side. So you just kind of slip them behind here. So the clips are pretty easy to get in. They're a little bit harder to get out, but with that little pry tool, it's not too bad. So I'm just gonna put a couple along here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put the front piece in. And then you just kind of squeeze it in there. And then we're gonna lift it up above the clips. Let's see, we need that front side to go forward a little bit more. That's pretty much it for the front. So just kind of squeeze this up here. Top of the clip over here. And now this part in the middle, this is where you kind of want the front and the back to kind of push against each other, so that here in the back fit a little better. This part is a little bit tricky to get these kind of lined up against each other. And then in the back here, just kind of have this resting on some clips here. And then I haven't gotten this part back here to fit really too much better than that, but it's going to block most of your light, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so here's what it looks like installed. So you can see in the middle here the two seams, you know, there's some tension there to kind of keep that seam tight, but then also keep the sunshade kind of tight around all the edges. This one right here, it's holding it a little bit. It's just kind of on the edge. If it pops off of there, it's not a huge issue. And I actually don't have any clips right here in the middle, so they're pretty easy to add. Pop it in. And there, lines up pretty well. You can see there's a little bit of movement on this. So if I don't overlap these in the middle, then you can see the sunshade's a little more, the fabric's a little more taut. So you could leave it this way if you want to, but then this gap in the back does get bigger. So Jowua recommends having these right next to each other. That's how they designed it to be installed. Well, like that. So yeah, it's pretty nice. I've got the windows down in here just so you can get a better view of the sunshade. So, you know, tinted windows up, and then if I put my front windshield screen in, it gets pretty nice in here if you had to sit and charge the car or whatever. If you want to know what this fabric feels like, it actually feels pretty similar to Ford's cargo cover back here that comes with the car. I would say Jowua's actually feels a little bit smoother and stretchier, but very similar, you know, in terms of the thickness and everything. You could also just have one panel installed. So, you know, if you want a little more shade in the front or a little more shade in the back, you could also go halfway like this. Let me take the front piece out too. So you just kind of push on it and then it'll come out. All right, so I also want to show you how to fold these down. So there's a little carrying case that both pieces fit in, and there is a way to fold these. So you kind of push it in where it kind of like spirals like this, and then you kind of bring one arm in front of the other. And it took me a few times to get that to work, but once you do it a couple of times, it's really not too bad. And then you can see, you know, how nice and flat this is, and you know, two pieces will fit in the pouch no problem. Still haven't gotten used to a great way to open this without it kind of springing on you. So let me show that again from this angle. They kind of recommend putting your hands on the side to kind of push it in, and it'll kind of naturally want to spring. And then once you get to about here, then grab, and then kind of like bring one arm under the other. So kind of push and then grab to where your like thumbs are both facing up on both sides. And then you kind of pull one arm under or over the other. So yeah, so there's the first piece. We'll do the second piece here. So it seems to work better this way. Push, grab, kind of one under the other. And you can see the size of the carrying pouch here compared to those. Second one, there you go. So you can see how flat this is. So stows pretty well. So I actually have two of these. Jowua sent me a second set because my first one wasn't fitting quite right. And so I'll show you the differences kind of side by side. It's not a huge difference, but it is a little bit of a length difference from the front to the back of the car. So it just didn't quite line up as well as it's supposed to. So this is the first one they sent. You can see it's a little bit dirty because I've been actually using it quite a bit. This is the new one they recently just sent me here. And let me show you the difference. Here's the two pieces. So, you know, they're sitting on the ground. The original one is a little bit longer from front to back on the car than even around these sides it is. And then same thing for the other piece, the front piece, the distance difference there. So it's It's about a finger width of distance, and it's like that for both pieces. Now I'm going to show you the first set, and the process is pretty much the same, but I just want to show you the difference. So I want to show you this just in case you order one of these or you have one of these. So we got the front part in, and so for a while I was just pretty much just leaving it like that, where it would overlap in the middle, but I have kind of this gap here in the back. There's a little bit of gap. So if I install it the recommended way, where the two pieces kind of butt up against each other, well, first of all, it's a little hard to do because the pieces are a little bit longer. Yeah, it just doesn't want to stay. Keeps going up and over. Okay, but we got it to stay, and then here in the back, it does cover it all, but you can see how this is kind of flappy. So if you have your windows down, and it just doesn't look great. I mean, it looks like your headliner's falling apart or something. So yeah, here's what the first one looked like, and you can just kind of see how floppy this is. It does fit back here better when you do install it this way, where these are butted up against each other. Just had them like that, which I think looks way better. This overlaps here, which is not a big deal, but then you have more of a gap back here, which isn't the end of the world. Also want to note that because of the way they store it, you can see how this one's kind of warped, kind of like potato chipped a little bit. So it's not a big deal once it's installed because it's kind of under tension, so it straightens out. And then a little better view of just the material up close. You can see it's pretty stretchy, and this is very lightweight. And then it has a little, this side up on this side. So yeah, so final thoughts on the sunshade. You know, I like how lightweight it is. It's kind of cool you can, fold it up. As far as the fitment goes, it's still not perfect. It's plenty in terms of covering the glass for the sun or anything like that, but it doesn't fit quite as well as like the Jowua floor mat I have. So yeah, it'd be nice if it fit a little bit better, but I think it works fine. And, with the windows down, I haven't had any problems with it, falling out. The Mach-E is decently fast, so, any acceleration, I haven't had any problem with it falling down. So it's definitely fitting tight enough and fitting well enough to stay in, block out the light, and it does make a big difference, especially like road tripping in the summer when you're on the interstate for a long time, running the air conditioning. That makes a big difference, to not have the sun kind of beating down on you all day. So if you do have one of these and you have any fitment issues, or you order one and have fitment issues, reach out to Jowua. They'll be happy to work with you, but try out, kind of a few different ways to install it and see what you like. They recommend having the pieces next to each other to kind of spring and push into all the corners of the car. Or you could have them overlap if that's kind of your personal preference. But yeah, reach out to them if you have any issues. All right, well, I think that's it for today's video. I'll put a link to this in the description. Feel free to check it out. They have some other accessories. I also have the cargo mat for the rear trunk and the front trunk, as well as the air compressor. I've continued to use those over the last few months. They're great. I love them. I haven't had any problems with them. Sunshade, I like the functionality of it. I just wish the fitment was a little bit better. But I think the build quality of the materials and the functionality is still really good. So yeah, feel free to check it out if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.